Well, hang on, first I gotta call us to order. Then we'll do pledge and then sir, okay? Welcome everyone to the Cadillac Planning Commission meeting here for February 26, 2018. If anyone has a cell phone on, if I could bother you to please turn it off so it doesn't goof up the taping of this evening's meeting, anyway. And if I could ask everyone to then please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now roll call, please.
I got to put an agenda in front of me.
Oh, okay. I understand.
Filkins, Smith,
Here.
Peterson, Bunce,
Here.
Gregg,
Here.
Bauman,
Here.
Fent,
Here.
Putman.
Here. We have a quorum. Perfect. Okay, this evening I am after an approval here of this evening's agenda here for again February 26, 2018.
I'll approve it.
Mr. Fent, who's
Second.
second? Mr. Smith.
This is going to be quick meeting.
Okay. Gregg,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Bauman,
Yes.
Bunce,
Yes.
Fent,
Yes.
Peterson, Filkins, Putman.
Yes. Moving right along. Next thing I need approval of the minutes from our special meeting of February 12th, 2018.
So moved.
Mr. Bauman first, seconded by
Anyone of
pick one.
We all agree.
Mr.
Bauman.
Bunce or
Yes.
Gregg, I don't care.
Fent,
Yes.
Bunce,
Yes.
Filkins, Smith,
Yes.
Peterson, Gregg,
Yes.
Putman.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Okay, this evening we have a public hearing pertaining to a rezoning application for the lot east of 838 North Mitchell Street. Having read that, I will turn this over to Mr. Coy.
Thank you. The application has to do with the site that is on the screen there. So we're all familiar with the site. Mr. Gildy, the applicant, he is here, and Lori King has been working with him on some of the title work and all that. She is here also. What this is a rezoning application, and it's to have the lot that is east. There are actually 3 lots on that site, all owned by the same person. It's to have the eastern lot, which is pretty much an asphalt lot, zone B3, which is the current zoning of the 2 lots to the west along Mitchell Street. The back lot behind the building, which actually the building is partially on, is asphalt, but it is technically zoned R3, residential. We have other sites in the city with the same situation, but with what's going on and what he is hoping to do, we'd really like to have a clean site with the entire parcel having the same zoning. The property is currently owned by Mike Johnson, and he, of course, is required to sign the application. This is a GIS of the site, which all of you should have in your packet. And the specific lot that this is about is right here. It's this east lot. And if you've been there, it's asphalt. I think it's been used commercially, because I think years ago there were trucks from the bakery or the Hostess Bay. They were parked there. It was, to my knowledge, it's been used commercially in the past. This is currently what that asphalt lot looks like back there. It's currently got snow piled there from where that's been. Mr. Gildy, with his plan, the snow's going to be piled at a different location on the property, farther to the south. This is just a view of the current building. Part of his plan, which doesn't really have anything to do with the rezoning, is I My understanding is this portion of the building here will actually be demolished, and then when the new construction occurs, it'll be, I'm assuming, the same height, et cetera. And when he got a survey done, I believe actually part of the back of this building is constructed on that, what should be a vacant lot. It's not very much, but, and that's another common thing in our city we find is buildings, there are buildings and homes that are technically straddling the neighbor property line. There aren't a lot, but they're there. The future plan is for Mr. Gildy to purchase a hardware store franchise. The parent firm, they require a minimum of 10,000 square foot of actually floor space for display, and then you need additional square footage for offices, restrooms, a little bit of warehousing, etc. This is the site plan that is on the board in front of you, and basically, even with the addition, there is 28 feet between the back of the building and the property line. So it's not abutting that back property line, and there's room for traffic flow, et cetera, if needed. It was reviewed, John and I, for parking. There's plenty of spots for parking. I think we came up with, it should have 18 required parking spots. And in this area here, you can see on the concept, there's 30 parking spots. So there's plenty of parking. And I believe snow removal will actually be put in this corner, in this area back here. It won't be behind the building. It'll be off to the, I guess you'd call it the southeast corner.
Joe, ask that question.
Does that have to be anything with, is Save-A-Lot involved in any of this now?
No,
Okay,
no,
good.
no. The current building is 9,000 square foot. And what he's planning on building, it's the current concept is 12,000, I think 744 square foot. The Zoning Board of Appeals did approve that size. The three lots, when you combine them, and they will be combined prior to construction, which is a simple process, the three lots take up 30,900 square feet. So it's a good size lot. Again, the two lots that abut North Mitchell, there's three lots. They are currently zoned B3 general business, and it is that back lot that is primarily asphalt that is the R3. Again, there's just a picture of that back there. Mr. Gildy has actually spoken with the owner of that home there, and they've actually already discussed some plans for trimming trees and et cetera to clean that up a little bit. Some neighboring property information. The residential neighborhood to the east, it includes 5 homes on North Simon Street. It actually is a dead-end street. It dead ends right at the Clam River. Some of those homes are rentals. Ironically, the Save-A-Lot and General Dollar site, I included a GIS of that. I found it kind of interesting that Greater General Dollar site actually has 3 different zoning classifications within it. And there was actually a rezoning, I believe it was, I've got my notes, I think it was 1974 possibly. But anyway, the one lot was actually rezoned from residential to a commercial, parking classification, which you folks have dealt with before. I think you did a similar one with Heitzman Holdship Funeral Home, if I'm not mistaken. But I just thought that was interesting that site had within it 3 different zoning classifications itself. Here is the GIS that you were looking at. Also found it interesting that the party store just south of this site, the building takes up about 80% of the square footage of the lot. So needless to say, that's not a conforming site, but it's been there for years and the nonconformity exists. We did do a public notice on this as we are required to by the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act. We put it in the newspaper. We also mailed it to property owners within 300 feet of the subject site. These were done more than 15 days ago. There actually were 2 of them. Everybody got 2 letters. There were 2 public notices because we had to do one for the Zoning Board of Appeals also.
Yep.
I did hear from the manager of the party store. When they saw the concept, they were like, wow, this is great, and they said this will certainly improve property values and help. In your packet, I included a letter that the Downtown Development Authority put together prior to the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting, and they were in complete support of revitalizing this site, to put it mildly. That site, ironically, is located in the Downtown Development Authority. It's the most northern property within the authority. Some comments, staff comments. These are basically myself. The site is to be developed, used as a potential hardware store. The applicant has to expand the floor space and the building to actually acquire the franchise. The Zoning Board of Appeals, again, on February 15th, they approved a variance application so that Mr. Gildy can expand the building. The site is currently an eyesore. It's also very underutilized. It's a commercial property on our main corridor. It is underutilized. Also, we have a recent, the most recent MDOT traffic study, traffic count for the area on North Mitchell between River Street and 13th Street, and their count shows 16,282 vehicles per day. So if this all goes as planned, there's going to be a lot of traffic going by. And Mr. Gildy has already gotten the site surveyed. And that's how we know a small portion of the current building is actually on that back east lot, but it's not much. As far as Planning Commission action, you're being asked to make a recommendation to City Council to rezone this one lot from R3 to B3. You can make the recommendation as is, you can make a recommendation with conditions, or you can deny the rezoning application. Reasonable conditions may be attached. I'm going to tell you one condition that the Zoning Board of Appeals added was that the pole sign that's near the sidewalk needs to be removed, either moved or removed. It is non-conforming in its location and size in relation to the sidewalk, and that was one condition of their approval, was that non-conforming sign be removed or moved to a position where it is conforming. Here again is a picture of the site, looking at it from Mitchell Street. And lastly, this is actually a picture of the building from the north side, and it kind of looks like it obviously needs some repair, and I don't know what all those wires are going to and from, but there are things stacked against the side of the building, a pallet against the pole, and it's kind of self-explanatory. That is all I have in my presentation. If you have any questions for me, I'm more than happy to try and answer them. Mr. Gildy is here if you have questions for him, so I'll send it back to you.
Just a quick question there, Mr. Coy. Is there anything else staff needed to see? Short of you're on board with that sign along with zoning, but was there anything else staff needed?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna get that pole sign out of there, and and then of course, final site plan needs to be reviewed by staff, and at that point we get the fire marshal involved and utilities director, public works director John, and so it's a site plan that can be reviewed and approved by staff. It's not a plan unit development or anything like that. So.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Coy at this time? Anyone?
What's going to be the use of the old parking spot on the east side, I guess? It'd be the river side of that building. There's not room for trucks or anything to be coming and going, like backing up and shining headlights through to the neighbors at night, or?
I don't feel so, and I'll let Mr. Gildy answer it. I mean, it needs to be left open to a certain degree just for traffic flow, but I'm going to let Mr. Gildy answer that.
I guess, yeah, I can have you speak before I open public hearing, so just state who you are and write down where you live instead of verbally saying that, please.
My name is Kanan Gildy.
Welcome,
and,
Kanan.
Yes, the east 28 feet would be left open for traffic in, on and off the site. The truck deliveries, I don't know for sure how they will, that's a conversation we have to have with the hardware corporate, but those would be during business hours, during regular business hours. So nothing's going to be, as far as truck traffic or anything late at night or anything like that, noise or.
Do you know at this time what time your loading dock will be on?
We will have, the plan shows garage doors on the south and the north sides.
Okay.
So we will be able to load and unload either customers' vehicles or the delivery trucks on either side of the building into the warehouse space.
Okay. Have you been accepted yet by ACE?
No, the application process is one of the final steps in purchase of the property, one of the final contingencies. We have not had any indication that we would not be approved.
Okay.
We've almost, conversation with ACE has been almost 2 years. And
Wow.
I think they're as excited about it as I am, so.
Well, good. Anyone else have questions before I part with Kane?
Questions about this building and
Yeah.
everything?
I'm gonna question him and then I'll open public hearing.
How are you gonna make something that ugly look like that?
Easy.
I mean, a bulldozer looks like it'd be a better bet than it would be to. A lot of paint. Yeah, a lot of paint.
Ken Orso can work wonders as long as you keep writing him checks.
Yep. You mentioned the right name. He's a good guy. He's good. Now, that building looked beautiful right there. It'll certainly make that side or section of town look.
Well, and not to mention having a hardware store in town is just
There.
great. I know when Ace was where Walgreens is now. It was nice having it right there instead of having to go and deal with the north end. And so, and when it was at Walgreens, that was the go-to place.
Yeah, but the cool thing about that round part of it, that was always cool.
Oh, yeah.
Everything was round.
Right.
Okay. Anything else for Kane other than
I just-
history?
I'm gonna have to watch this one.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. At this time, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing, in case there's anybody else that give us any other input. So anyone here wishing to speak in favor, please come forward, state your name, which, okay, fine. Anyone in our audience to speak against the proposed rezoning, and there being none. So at this time, we'll go ahead and staff, or we'll close the public hearing and discuss this if need be much at all. Okay.
Anybody?
There's a
Then-
propane thing on this.
Propane?
Refill propane tanks there. So the fire marshal has to be on top of that probably.
Okay.
Occupancy, part of the occupancy permit is the fire marshal has to approve everything. The fire marshal actually gets involved very early when the first construction plans are being submitted.
Are you gonna be filling tanks? Is that what that's for?
Yeah, we'd be filling, like your.
20
tank
pounders.
barrels For campers and that sort of thing.
Ah. But your heat source won't be that?
Correct.
Well, unless somebody's smoking.
Huh?
Unless there's somebody smoking out there, then maybe.
Well. True, but sure there's a rule about that in
Yeah,
filling
there is.
tanks, so I
There
would
is.
guess.
Fire marshal's got all those.
Yeah, they there, so. So I take it that'll be in cage and all that. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, it'll be in the cage.
Oh, God, yeah, yeah. Somebody run over it. Okay. Since,
Usually there's a lot more comments than what we're talking about right now, so you did a nice job, and, or your pictures did a nice job.
I drove down to Hoagland's in Tusta today to get stuff, so having a hardware store in Cadillac would certainly be.
See, that's a
Don't you live down there?
But it's, for my house, it's just as quick to drive to Hoagland's as it is to go out to Home Depot. and
Way less stress.
Some items Home Depot just doesn't have.
Doesn't have.
I miss Ace Hardware. When it left here, I've always gone to Ace Hardware, but I don't now because we don't have one. So, but this is cool. I'm excited about this.
Okay.
And our thing we want to vote on, we should say something about the sign, or that's already taken care of?
The zoning board of appeals made it very clear.
Comment tonight?
Okay.
Yep. Either move it and make it conforming or remove it.
All right.
And if you
So we
look
don't
at
have
his
to-
parking scheme, you pretty much got to remove the darn thing anyway
Yeah.
to have
Make that
the
work.
ingress egress that he
Right.
wants.
So we don't need that in the motion, that's what I.
No, not at all.
And MDOT will worry about the ins and outs, right?
The curb cut, no question, MDOT will need to approve, just like they needed to do the new one at the Cops Mitchell building.
Yep. Okay. We're good?
Anybody got any questions, any concerns?
I think we're ready to
Go
make a
ahead.
motion and go.
Knock yourself out.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that the request to rezone be approved as proposed by staff.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Fent. Roll call, please.
Bauman,
Yes.
Filkins, Bunce,
Yes.
Peterson, Gregg,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Fent,
Yes.
Putvin.
Yes. Sweet.
Passes.
Sweet.
All right, this,
Another step done.
so when do you think it's gonna be done? I mean,
Construction, we're hoping sometime, probably second half of the summer or the fall.
so you expect to be approved here very shortly then? Cool, good. Good, that's gonna be a nice addition.
We will look forward to the grand opening.
I'm sure there'll be something I'll need right away.
But of course. All righty.
This sounds similar to the ZBA discussion.
You're welcome to hang out a little bit because there's not a lot on our plate. So, or you're welcome to leave. Whatever your schedule dictates. We welcome you this evening anyway, and thank you. It's by the hour.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Sorry, Laura. See ya.
I wasn't gonna say it, but I was
Well,
thinking.
John did. What the hey? Throw him under the bus. Okay. New business, there being nothing, old business being nothing. Board member comments this evening?
Nothing.
Everybody's good because we were just here. Any communications staff, either staff?
There is a card there, a thank
Ah.
you card from,
Have that- it's been
for all of
stopped
us,
at me.
all of you to sign, make a comment to Joe Schichtel.
Perfect.
If Joe's listening, well, it won't be. It's not live, so, but, yeah, that's it.
I do
Awesome.
wanna make a comment.
Yes.
When you're discussing all this, you said that the snow removal was gonna be, had already been specified. That was Joe's favorite question.
Was it?
Yeah, and
Okay.
I was gonna ask that.
Well, you're gonna have to
You
fill in for
ruined
him.
Ruined it. Okay,
But,
so-
you know, but it's, I mean, let's face it, in this town, it's a
That's a big
very
thing.
legitimate, question, and, it needs to be addressed.
Agreed. Let's see, we did communications. We have no publics, no public comments, and other business, and sorry, we're adjourned, but I do have the card. So it's